Here we are in Adobe After Effects. Let's create a new composition and we are going to call it as main animation. Width I'm going to choose over here should be 1920 and height I'm going to choose 180. Frame rate is 30 and duration we will put it on 1 minute, and background color is white color, not white but black color, and simply hit OK. Then go to choose grid and guide option and simply hit on titles fraction. I'm going to select my logo which is in black color PNG format. I'm gonna go invite effect and presets panel and I'll search for fill effect and double click to apply. Then I'm going to change the color of this one to white. Then I'll select this logo, I'll press S and I'll try to reduce the scale of this one. Then select this logo and press Ctrl Shift C to pre-compose and leave all attributes into the main animation comp and simply hit OK. Then I'm going to select this PNG logo file over here, go to the layers and go to the auto trace options and click let's check it out the settings, choose current frame, blur 0, alpha, apply new layer and simply hit OK. Okay, after that we will hide this second layer or you can delete it as well. We only need this layer. Okay, so I'm going to delete this one. Let's select this, hit enter and let's call it as logo with stroke. After that, go to the effect and presets panel and search for stroke effect over here and let's double click to apply. Over here we are going to choose all mask and then instead of paint style on original image I'm going to choose reveal original. So what will happen that we will get the stroke over here, and now if you increase it, as you guys can see, we are getting this stroke kind of a structure. So let's increase this value to 10. Okay, and then over here we can animate add and start value over here. So initially it should be 100. Create one keyframe, hit U over here, zoom in a little bit. Let's go to around 2 seconds and let's make this value 100. Okay, so if you check it out, this we are gonna get this kind of a animation over there. Okay, now after that I'm going to select this layer and I'll hit F9 to easy these out. So we will get a little bit of this kind of a animation. Now let's select this and initially let's choose the brush size to 2. Then select this, hit Ctrl D, let's make this brush size 4. Hit Ctrl D, let's make this brush size 6. Hit Ctrl D, let's make this brush size 10. Hit Ctrl D and let's make this brush size 10. Okay, so now we have this for this one 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Okay, now after that zoom in a little bit. Let's go to around 10 frames. Select this with the help of open square bracket. Sorry, I think I have deleted this. Okay, let's go to the 10 frames. Select this with the help of open square bracket. I'll move this over here, move this one over here, move this one over here and move this one over here. So if you check it on this animation, we are gonna get this kind of a revealing animation over there. Now let's select this fifth logo layer and hit Ctrl C to copy, hit Ctrl N and we are going to pull it as logo animation and hit OK and hit Ctrl V over there, so it will automatically come over here. And now I'm going to delete this stroke, we don't need that. Similarly in main animation I'm going to select them and I'll press Ctrl Shift C to pre-compose and I'm going to pull it as stroke animation and hit OK. Now let's go to the logo animation and over here we are going to animate our logo. So for that what I'm gonna do, first thing first, I'm going to select my rectangle and I'm going to create one mask over here like that. Then select this logo layer, press F4 and choose alpha mask. Then select this logo, press P for position to create one keyframe. Then go to around 2 to 3 seconds to create another keyframe. Then go to the start and let's bring this logo down. Then select those keyframes, hit F9, go to the graph, select this graph and by holding shift move this handle over here, so we'll get this kind of a revealing animation. Now hit Ctrl Y to create one solid background. Then go to the effect and presets panel and search for wrap effect and apply this gradient wrap. And instead of linear wipe, I am going to choose a radial wipe. Bring one anchor point at this portion and one anchor point at this portion. Then select this and press Ctrl Shift C to pre-compose and let's call it as matte and choose move all attributes to the new composition. Okay, then go inside this map, right click, new, and create one adjustment layer. Now on this adjustment layer, I'm going to apply mosaic effect and then double click to apply. Now if you want, you can choose this kind of a vertical blocks and horizontal blocks. I'm going to increase the horizontal blocks to 25 and vertical blocks to 0, like that. Okay, then go to the logo animation and let's hide this. Now select this and this layer and press Ctrl Shift C and let's call it as animation and hit OK. Now select this animation layer, go to the effect and presets panel and search for time displacement effect and double click to apply. And we are going to choose this map over here. Now if you check it out, this animation, we are gonna get something like that. But obviously this looks weird. So what we are going to do, we will go to this map and we are going to select this white solid, and first thing we will do is make swap this color, and for this portion over here it should be at the center, and this black portion it should be a little bit over here, like that. Okay, then after that I'm going to select this adjustment layer, go to the effect and presets panel and search for brightness and contrast and double click to apply, and let's increase the brightness of this one to totally like that. Okay, then go to the logo animation, we are getting something like that. Now let's go to around 1 second over here, and I'm gonna go inside this animation. I'm going to select these two layers, and with the help of open square bracket I'll move this over here. So if I check it out in logo animation now, we are getting this kind of a revealing animation over here. Okay, and if you want, you can select this and you can play around with this, and you can increase the number of these blocks. You can select this solid layer and you can change this, and you can try to move this over here, and then you can play around with this brightness again, like that. Okay, so now if you check it out, this we will get something like this. Okay, now I'm going to select this and press Ctrl Shift C, and let's call it as red, or instead of that let's call it as animation 01 and hit Ctrl D. Now hit Ctrl D around 5 times, and now I'm gonna go inside this and I'll take a gap of 5 or let's say 10 frames. Select this with the help of open square bracket, move this over here, move this over here, move this over here, and move this over here. Select this fifth layer, go to the effect and presets panel and search for fill effect and double click to apply. Select this fourth layer, go to the effect and presets panel, apply fill effect, and try to use a little bit gradient with quite less reddish color. And I'm not gonna go and apply any color to this third layer, but for this second layer I'm gonna go and apply find edge effect and double click to apply, like that. And let's invert this, and for the first I'll keep it as it is. Okay, so if you check it out, this at full resolution, we are gonna get something like this. Now let's go to the main animation corp and hit Ctrl 0, and we are going to bring our logo animation corp over here. So when this animation is happening, we are gonna get something like this. Okay, now another thing I'm gonna do over here, I'm gonna go inside this logo animation, and let's go to the any of this, go for example this animation as well as over here. Now we guys know that we have this logo pop over here. Hit U, and let's go at the end. I'm going to copy this layer by hitting Ctrl C, and then I'll go to the logo animation layer and I'll hit Ctrl V over there. And with the help of open square bracket, I'll bring this at the start, hit U, and I'm gonna go at the last over here. Let's enable this layer only, and I'm going to delete those position keyframes. Okay, and hit U, and now this layer. Okay, now let's select this, hit enter, and let's call it as mask. So this layer is gonna act like a mask. Select all of these layers and press Ctrl Shift C, and let's call it as logo collection and hit OK. Then select this and choose alpha mask. So now if we check it out, this animation, we are getting this kind of a filling animation over there. Okay, so now if you check it out, this in main animation cop, we are getting something like this over here. Okay, like that. Now after this we have the stroke animation. I'm going to select this logo animation for now, and let's hide this. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do, I want this animation should come from the front. So for that I'm going to press S. Let's create one keyframe over here and go few frame forward, create another keyframe, and initially scale I'm going to choose 400, so it will look like it's coming from here. Now let's select those keyframe and hit F9. Go to the graph, select this, and let's move this handle over here. So if you check it out, this we are gonna get something like that. Now hit Ctrl D and move this a little bit over here like this. Okay, over here. Again hit Ctrl D and let's move this over here a little bit like that. Again hit Ctrl D and move this over here, but for this last, hit U, go over here and scale. I'm going to bring this a little bit bigger. Then press T for opacity and let's change the opacity of this one to, let's say, 20. Okay, so if you check it out, this we are gonna get something like that. Okay, then press T for opacity, create one keyframe, go few frame forward. Let's remove this. See. So we are gonna get this kind of a structure over here. Now after that, I'm going to right click new and create one adjustment layer. Go to the affected presets panel and search for CC lens effect and double click to apply. So we are gonna get this kind of a bulge. As you guys can see, we are getting this kind of a weird effect. So do one thing, initially somewhere around over here, let's make this value of the size to 400. So we are gonna get the bulge. If it's not, let's try to reduce the size up to, let's say, 200 like that. So let's see what kind of a scenario we are gonna get like that. If it's still not quite bulky, so let's try and check it out what we will get at 100. Okay, we are gonna get something like that. So let's try to increase a little bit up to like that, 270, 227. Okay, we are gonna get something like that. Then somewhere around at this point, simply go when all of them are over here, create one keyframe at size, go over here, hit Q, and let's increase the size totally like 500. So if you check it out, this you will get something like that. And then when all of this is over, I want this animation should start to appear. Okay, like that. So we got this. Now after that, right click new and create one adjustment layer. Select all of this, not adjustment layer, but I think null object is enough. So create one null object, or select all the other layers except this adjustment layer. Make it apparent with this null. Select this null, press S, and let's link this value 110 to create one keyframe and go somewhere around 5 to 6 seconds. And let's link this value, let's say 100. Or you can link this 95 as well. Then press P for position. Right click on your stopwatch and let's apply wiggle 3,3. Okay, so if you check it out, this animation now, we will get animation, but along with that we are gonna get that wiggly effect as well. Okay, and then hit N there. So as you guys can see, this is how we can create this kind of a simple logo reveal animation inside of After Effects. Here we are in Adobe After Effects. Let's create a new composition and we are going to call it as main animation. Width is 1920, height is 180, frame rate I am going to choose 60 frame per second, and duration 1 minute, and background color is black color, and simply hit OK. Then we will go to choose grid and guide option and simply hit on title selection. Then I'm going to select my text tool and I'm going to choose Babel's new font, but you can choose whatever font you want, and I'm going to choose white color. Then I'm going to type my text. I'm going to type motion graphics, but you can type any text you want. Then select this text and go to the paragraph menu and make sure that your text is center text. Then I need this anchor point at the center, so I'll press Ctrl Alt Home on my keyboard, so anchor point is going to be at the center. Then I'll select my selection tool. Then I'll go to the align tab, align this text horizontally and then align this text vertically. Now this is our main text and now we need to animate this text. So let's go to the animate menu and we are going to choose position. Then we will bring down this position downwards. Then go to the range selector and let's create one keyframe at the start. Zoom in and let's go somewhere around 1.30 seconds and let's increase this value. So now if you see, we are getting this kind of animation. Then go to the start. Along with that, I need to animate the tracking property as well. So I'll go to the property menu and I'm going to choose tracking and let's decrease this tracking value. Okay, and initially the opacity should be 0. So go to the add property and let's choose opacity and let's choose opacity 0. So now if you see, we are getting this animation. Now let's select this animation and let's hit F9 to ease those keyframe. Then simply go to the graph editor, right click and make sure that you are using edit speed graph. Select this graph by holding shift. I'm going to move one handle over here and let's move one handle over here. So now if you see, we are getting this kind of animation. If you want, you can move this animation up to 2 seconds as well. Okay, so this is going to be this animation. Now let's go to end property, end keyframe, which is at 2 seconds. Let's select this text and hit Ctrl D to duplicate it. Press V and let's try to bring this over here. Then go to the character menu and this time I'm going to delete this fill and I'll choose white color for the stroke. Okay, and let's try to make this resolution full so I can see this portion. Then press S for scaling option and let's scale it like this. After that, I'm going to select my rectangle tool and I'm going to create this kind of mask over here. Go to the mask and let's increase the mask feathers. Okay, so if you see, we are getting this kind of stuff. Now let's select this text and let's change the color of this one to yellow and let's bring this downwards and let's try to adjust it over here. Then I'm going to select this same layer and I'll hit Ctrl D to duplicate it. Let's try to bring this over here like that. Select this mask and let's try to bring this somewhere around like this. You can simply move this downward as well. After that, I'm going to select these two layers and I'll hit Ctrl D to duplicate it and I'm going to bring them downward. Let's select those layers, press S and let's increase the scale again. Then select this layer and let's bring this downward over here. Select this layer and let's bring this upward. Okay, so now if you see, we are getting this kind of layers over here. So if I see, I'm gonna get this kind of animation. Now after that, we need to animate this one by one. So I'm going to take a distance of 10 frames. I'll select this layer over here. Or let's go to the start. Let's take a distance of 5 frames. Select this. With the help of open square bracket, I can move this over here, go over here, move this over here, move this over here and move this over here. So if I see this animation, I'm getting this kind of animation. Okay, after that I'm going to right click new and I'm going to create one adjustment layer. So first I'll get this. Then at 2 seconds, I'm going to go in my effect and presets panel and I'm going to search for transform effect over here and double click to apply. Then I'm going to create one keyframe as scale and one keyframe as skew and hit U. Then go somewhere around 30 seconds and scale I'm going to decrease it to somewhere around 90 and skew as well I'm going to make it -6. Then select those keyframe and I'm going to hit F9 over there. Then go to the graph editor, select this graph. By holding shift, move one handle over here and move one handle over here. Okay, so if you see this now, we will get something like this. Okay, so if I see this animation in full resolution, I'll get this kind of stuff over here. Okay, now after that, I'm going to right click new and create one null object. Select all of them and I'll make it a parent with this null. Then select this null and press P for position. We will alt click on this stopwatch and we will search for wiggle 2,2. Okay, so what will happen that along with this animation, we will get a little bit of wiggle animation over there. Now let's hit U. Select all of this animation and press Ctrl Shift C to pre-compose this and we will call it as animation, or we will call it as text animation. Okay, now after that we need to hit Control N to create another composition, and we will call it as map, and hit OK. Now I'm going to press Control Y and let's call it as fractal. Okay, then we'll go to the effect and presets panel and we will search for fractal noise effect and double click to apply. Let's increase the contrast to 300 and brightness to minus 200, or let's say minus 50. Okay, or even somewhere around like this. Then complexity 1, and go to the transform properties and let's increase the scale somewhere around like this. Then right click new and create one adjustment layer. Go to the effect and presets panel and search for mosaic effect, like that. Then let's make this horizontal and vertical blocks to 50. Then go to the main animation, hit Ctrl 0 and let's bring this map over here and let's hide this. Then select this text animation, go to the effect and presets panel and search for time displacement effect and double click to apply. So as you guys can see, we are getting this weird kind of effect. Now we have to tell this time displacement that use this map as a reference layer and then animate this. So select this text animation, time displacement layer. I'm going to choose this map and let's choose quad resolution. Otherwise your file is gonna get heavy. And now as you guys can see, we are getting this kind of weird stuff over here. So to get rid of that, simply go over here, select this fractal and let's try to increase the size as well as decrease this brightness a little bit. Okay, so now if you see this, we are getting this kind of glitchy animation over there. Okay, now let's go inside this, select all of them and let's try to bring this up to 30 frames. So as you guys can see, we are getting this kind of stuff. Now select all of them and press Ctrl Shift C and we are going to call it as main text animation. Then I'm going to select this and I'll hit Control D around 5 times, so I'll get 5 copies of it. I'll select this last layer. I'll go to the effect and presets panel and I'll search for fill effect and I'll keep color as red. Select fourth layer, apply fill color. Let's choose blue color. Then select this third layer, apply fill color and choose somewhere around greenish color. Select this second layer and search for find edge effect and double click to apply and choose invert. Then we will take the hit page down button one time and select this with the help of open square bracket, move this over here. Again page down, select this, move this over here and follow this procedure somewhere around like this. So now if you see this, it will get a little bit like that, but your final output would be awesome. Okay, now my PC is taking time to load this animation, but your final and output will look like this. Okay, and then you can check out this animation in full resolution. Okay, and after that press Ctrl Y to create one black solid background and make sure to bring this downwards. Okay, now this is taking too much time, so let's see this animation in quad resolution only. Okay, so if you see this, we will get this kind of animation inside of After Effects. Okay, so first of all, here we are in Adobe Photoshop and I have this Logitech logo over here. And if you want, then you can choose any other logo which is related to tech field, because in this animations, we are going to use the keyboard concept of arrows. Okay, so if you have any other brand which is related to, keyboard or any, technical stuff, you can use that as well. For this animation, we are going to use this Logitech logo. Now I have this logo and as always I want each and every one on different layer. So I'm going to select my rectangle selection and I'm going to select this portion. Then I'll hit Ctrl X to cut it out. I'll create a new layer and I'll press Ctrl Shift V to paste in place. And I'm going to hide this. Now I'll select this layer again. I'm going to select this area. I'll hit Ctrl X to cut it out. Create a new layer. Ctrl Shift V to paste in place. Then I'm going to select this portion over here, hit Ctrl X to cut it out, new layer, Ctrl Shift V to paste in place. Now I'm going to follow this procedure for all of them. So let's skip this portion. Okay, so I did all the separation of each and every layer. As you guys can see, each and every alphabet and each and every element over here, including this dot as well, is properly on separated layer. Now I'm going to sync this file as Photoshop document. So I'm going to call it as logo and I'll hit OK like that. Then we will go to the Adobe After Effects. I'm going to create a new composition and I'm going to call it as main animation. Width, I'm going to choose 1920. Height, I'm going to choose 1080. Frame rate is 30. Duration, I'm going to choose 1 minute 20-second long. And for the background color, I'm going to choose white color. Then simply hit OK. Then go to choose grid and guide option and simply hit on titles effect. Now I'm going to press Ctrl I to import my Photoshop file. I'll select this logo, import as, go to the footage and choose composition, return layers and sizes and simply hit import and hit OK. Then double click to open this logo composition. I'm going to select all of these layers. The reason we are not seeing anything because the background color is black, but it's okay. All you need to do is select all the Photoshop layers and hit Ctrl C to copy. Go to the main animation and hit Ctrl V and try to bring this layers properly at this point. Okay. Now right click in the blank space, new, and go to the null object and click on it. I'm going to select all the other layers by holding shift and make it a parent with this null. Select this null, press S and let's make this value 70 or let's make this 50. Okay. If you want, then you can go to up to 60 as well. And let's delete this null object. Now, let's select all of them and press E for position. Let's select all the position keyframes by holding shift and like that. Right click and choose separate dimension. Then create one keyframe at X and one keyframe at Y. Then go somewhere around up to 20 frames. Create one keyframe at X and one keyframe at Y. Then go to around 1 second. Let's create only one keyframe at Y position. Okay. Then go to the start over here. Let's increase the Y position somewhere up to this, like that. Then go somewhere around over here in the middle. Let's bring this a little bit upward, like that. Then go to the start. And at this point, I'm going to go in my align tab, go to the align horizontally and then align it vertically. Okay, and let's try to bring this over here. So if you check it out this, we will get something like that. Then we will in search option, I'm going to search for Y only and then select those Y position keyframes and hit F9. Go to the graph editor, right click and make sure that you are in edit speed graph. Zoom in a little bit. Let's select this and by holding shift move one handle over here. Select this and move this handle at this point. Then select this and move this handle at this point. Select this and move this handle at this point. Okay. Then same, select this portion. Move this over here and move this over here. Select this, move this over here. Select this and move this over here like that. So if we check it out this, we are getting something like that. Then along with that, I'll press S to create one keyframe. Hit U, go somewhere around over here, create another keyframe at S, I mean scale. Go to the start and let's make this value 10. Then press R for rotation to create one keyframe and hit U and let's go somewhere around over here. I'm going to select this much area and I'm going to make this -1 complete rotation like that. Okay. Then I'm going to select this much portions. Go to the start. We have to make sure that we have created one keyframe at rotation. Then at this point, I'm going to make this +1. So if we check it out this, we are getting different rotations for each and every one of them. Now, what I want is that this animation should be one by one. So here hit page down button 2 times. Select this, move this over here again 2 times. Try to adjust this randomly like that. You can go the way you want, like this over here. like that. This one I'm going to move over here, this one over here, and this one over here. So if you see this now, this animation is going to be randomly like that. If you want, you can try to move them a little bit closer to each other like that. So animation is going to be a little bit, faster like that. Okay. Then press F4, select all of them and enable the motion grab. So if you check it out this, we are getting something like that. So this is our logo animation. Now we need to create animation which is gonna start over here. So let's select all of these animations and press Ctrl Shift C to pre-compose, and we are going to call it as logo animation, and let's hit enter. Now we will lock this layer as well as this hide this layer. Now hit Ctrl N to create another composition, and we are going to name it as key 01, and let's make this width over 500, also height 500, and hit OK. Now I'm going to press Ctrl Y to create one solid background, and let's make this black color background like that. Now I'm going to select my rectangle tool, and this time I'm going to delete this fill. I don't need that. And I'm going to choose white color for this stroke, and stroke width I'm going to choose 2 pixels, and let's double click to create one rectangle. Select this, press S, and let's decrease the scale of this. Okay, like that. So we got something like that. Now I'm gonna go over here, and let's try to, you know, create a mark like it's going upwards. So let's create 1 point over here, 1 point over here, and 1 point over here. Let's try to bring this over here like that. And let's try to bring this over here. You can hit Control R to bring one ruler just in case you want to be very specific with this. Okay. You can move it like that. Okay. Then try to increase the stroke width of this. Then select this and press Ctrl Alt Home to bring this anchor point at the center. Press P for position and try to bring this a little bit over here. Now go to the main animation and let's bring our key 01 over here. Press S for scaling option and let's try to bring this over here. Let's go to the key and let's select this and let's try to increase the stroke width over here a little bit. And let's bring this a little bit over here like that. Okay, over here. Now let's select this, move this over here, pick Control D, let's move this over here, press R and let's rotate it on 180-degree like this. Then select this, hit Control D, let's move this over here, press R for rotation, let's rotate it on 270. Then select this, hit Control D, let's move this over here, press R, let's make this 0 or let's rotate it on 90. Okay, like that. Okay, so we got this much. Now if you want, if you see the, if you think that the, if you maximize this, if you think the scale is too much as compared to the logo we are going to animate, then what you can do is that you can right click new and create one null object. Select all those keys and you can make it a parent with this null. Then select this null, press S and try to decrease the scale a little bit and then delete this null object. Okay, so this thing looks good to me. Now, what I'm gonna do over here is that I want this thing should start to get animated first. So let's try to bring this at the top. Press P for position and let's enable this icon so we can see only this. Create one keyframe, then go somewhere around 1 second to create another keyframe, and somewhere over here in the middle I'm going to bring this upward by sorry, select this and try to change the position of this one over here. Then at this point try to bring this over here like that, so we will get something like this. Okay, now select those keyframe, hit F9, go to the graph, select this, shift hold and move this handle over here, this over here, this over here, and let's move this over here. So if you check it out this, we are getting something like that. Then over here, I'm going to select this, press R for rotation to create one keyframe, hit U, go over here to create another keyframe, then go to the start and let's make this with -1. Okay, so we'll get something like that. Let's select this rotation keyframes, hit F9, go to the graph, select this graph. By holding shift, move this handle over here and move this handle over here. So if you check it out this, we are gonna get something like that. Okay. Then we will enable our another layer, which is going to be, I think, this one. I'm going to bring this at the top. Okay. Somewhere around at this point, when this is coming over here, I want this key should, come from the top. So let's try to bring this over here. Press P for position to create one keyframe. Let's minimize other ones. Okay. And focus on this one. Go over here, create one keyframe. And initially, I'm going to move this over here. Then select those position keyframes and hit F9. Go to the graph, select this, this handle over here and move this handle over here like that. Okay, so it will look something like that. And let's try to bring this a little bit over here when this is coming over here. Okay, and then somewhere around at this point, this remaining ones, I'm going to bring them at the top and let's move them over here. Press P for position, select them, right click and choose separate dimensions. Create one keyframe at X and one keyframe at Y. Go few frame forward, create another keyframes. And in the middle, I'm going to select those and try to bring their positions a little bit upward. Okay. Then go over here. Let's change the X position of this and choose align horizontally and change the Y position of them to somewhere around over here like that. Okay, so we'll get something like that. Then select those Y positions and go few frames forward. Select all of them, create another keyframe at Y. Let's move this a little bit. And in the middle, let's try to bring this Y position a little bit upward. Okay, you can try to move this a little bit forward. Then select those in search option, search for Y only. Select those keyframe and hit F9. Go to the graph, select this, zoom in, shift hold, move this handle over here and move this handle over here. Select this, move this handle over here. Select this and move this handle over here. Select this, move this over here and move this over here. Select this, move this over here. Select this and move this over here. Okay. So if you check it out this, we'll get something like that. Then press R for rotation to create one keyframe. Hit U somewhere around at this point. Let's select this and let's make this one complete rotation. And at this point, let's make this -1. Okay. So if you check it out this, you will get something like that. Let's select all of those keyframes and by holding Alt, let's try to bring this over here like that. So if you check it out this, we got this and got this. And if you want, you can select this keyframes by holding Alt. Let's move this a little bit forward. Okay. So it will be a little bit late. Now select all of those and let's not forget to enable the motion blur. It will add a little bit depth to your animation. And when all of this is done, take a gap of few frames. Select all these two keyframes, create one keyframe at X and one keyframe at Y. Not Y, but create keyframe on X and X of both this. Go few frame forward over here like that. Select this. Let's move this over here. Do not create any keyframe on Y. Select this and let's move. Sorry, or you can move this from here as well and try to bring it over here like this. Do not create any keyframe over here like that. And somewhere around over here, Select this, go to the align tab, move this over here, or if it's not going, simply bring it at this point. Again, delete this Y position keyframe, select this, try to bring this over here, like that. Now select those keyframes, hit F9, go to the graph. Let's select this and by holding shift, move this handle over here. Select this and move this handle over here. Sorry. Select this and try to bring this over here. So if you check it out this, we will get something like that. And at this point, let's select this and by holding shift, move this handle at this point and move this handle at this position. So we will get something like that. So it's like they are striking with each other. Okay, like this. And let's take a gap of few frames between these two. So let's shift it a little bit forward like that. Okay. Then somewhere around at this point, I want this one should be gone. So let's select this and create one keyframe at position. Go few frame forward and let's try to bring this at the top. Okay. Select those and hit F9 like that. Go to the graph. Let's select this. Shift hold. Move this handle at this point and this handle at this point. Okay. Like this. And when these things are gonna collide with each other, I'm going to select those and by holding Alt close square bracket, I trim up to them. Similarly, at this point, I'm going to select those and by holding Alt close square bracket, I'll trim up to this. Okay. And then I'm going to enable my logo animation layer and I'll bring this at the top. And I want this animation should get started somewhere around at this point. So I'll bring this over here. Okay. Like that. So it will look like it's happening over here. So now if you check it out, this animation from the start, we got this and then we got this. Now press Ctrl Y to create one solid background and let's try to bring this downwards. Now right click new and create one null object. Select all the layers and make it a parent with this null. Select this null, press S and let's link this value 115 and create one keyframe. Let's go somewhere around 8 seconds and let's make this value 100 and hit N over there. If you want to end this animation somewhere a little bit, 7 is also good. Let's move this over here and hit it. Now I'm going to right click new and create one adjustment layer. And now I'll go to this website called Color Hand. And in the neon section, I got this color codes. You're free to choose any color code you want. I'm going to copy this color code or let's say this color code first. Let's go over here and go to the effect and presets panel and search for tilt effect over here. So tilt effect. And instead of white, I'm going to choose this color. And instead of black, I'm going to choose white color. Okay, so first I got this. And when this is coming downwards at this point, I'll select this and I'll press Ctrl Shift D to split this layer. If you want, instead of this, you can choose black color as well. Okay, and like this. Then somewhere at this point, I'm going to pick up this color. And for this adjustment layer, I'm going to pick up this color. Okay. And when this is striking this at this point, I'll press Ctrl Shift D. And at this point, when they are coming downwards, I'm going to bring them over here like that. And at this point, I'm going to pick up this color and let's choose this color over here. So if you check it out this now, we got this, we got this, or you can bring this over here as well when they are changing it like that. If you want, then let's try to choose white color over here only like that. Okay. And where they are striking each other, let's select this at this Control Shift D and I'm going to pick up this color code and let's choose this over here like that. At the end, if you want, you can press Control Shift D. You can swap this color as well. So it's totally up to you what kind of a color combination you want. At this point, if you want feel, you can select this and press Ctrl Shift D as well, and you can start this color as well. Okay, like this. You can try to bring this up to this. Okay, let's see. We got this like that. Okay, I think instead of this, I'll pick up in this color code only, because the last one looks, you know, very dark. See, let's go with this one, and it's okay. So we got this animation like that over here, and somewhere around at this point when they are touching the ground, I want this color code should start to appear, and then press Ctrl Shift D, and you can delete this as well. Okay, and try to bring it towards. Okay, yeah. And if you want, you can increase the scaling animation up to 140 as well, because then you will get a lot of scaling animation over there. And if you feel the starting portion of this one is, what you can say, it's very not visible, you can select this and you can copy this color code. Okay, and all you need to do is just play around with this color code. You can paste it over there, or you can swap it over here as well, just to feel different. So yep, this is how you can create this kind of animation inside of After Effects. So here we are in Adobe Illustrator. Now I have this Logitech logo file over here, and if you want this project files, you can download this project files from Patreon. I'll give you the link in the description. Now first thing first, that we need each and every alphabet properly on a separated layer. So first thing first, I'll select this. I'll go inside this options, and as you guys can see in layer 1, all of them are in the path format. So select this layer 1 and click on this circular icon, which is click to target. Then go over here and choose release to layer sequence. After clicking that, each and every path is now properly on a separated layer. So by holding shift, select all of them and simply drag and drop downwards. And we will delete this extra layer because we don't need that. And let's save this file. Okay. I'll press Ctrl Shift S and let's save this as new logo and hit OK. Okay, now let's go to the Adobe After Effects and let's create a new composition. I'm going to call it as main animation. Width is 1920, height is 180, frame rate is 30, duration is 30, and background color I'm going to choose white color, and I'll simply hit OK. Then go to choose grid and guide option and simply hit on title selection. Then I'm going to press Ctrl I and I'll select my Illustrator logo file, import as. Instead of footage, I'm going to choose composition, return layers and sizes, and simply hit import and simply drag and drop this logo over here. Now let's go inside this and press Ctrl K to open the project settings. And now as you guys can see, the background is black. So let's change the background first. Okay, similarly width I'm going to choose 1920 and height I'm going to choose 180 and simply hit OK like that. Now let's select all of them. Simply right click, create, shape from vector layer, and let's bring this at the top. Now let's select all of these extra layers and let's hide this. Now let's select all of this and hit Ctrl D and let's bring them at the top like that. And let's change the color of this one to yellow, so it would be easy for us to understand that these are different layers. And I'm going to click on this icon so they will show only this layer. Now I'll try to add a stroke over here, which is like that, but as you guys can see, we cannot add stroke like this. So instead of that, what I'm gonna do, I'll go inside this, I'll go to the add, and I'm going to choose stroke. I'll select this stroke and I'll hit Ctrl C to copy. I'll select all of them and I'll hit Ctrl V to paste it. So now inside each and every one, I'm gonna get that stroke. Okay. Now hit U, select all of them, and this time I'm going to choose stroke black, and I'm going to delete this fill. So as you guys can see, now we have stroke for each and every one. Now what we can do, let's select all the yellow layers, and we will hide them just for now. Now let's select any one of them. For example, this. I'm gonna go over here, go to the add menu, and we are going to choose trim path. Go to the trim path, and let's make this end value 0 and create one keyframe. Go to somewhere around 1.10 frame, and let's make this value 100. So if you see this now, we will get this kind of animation. Now let's select this and we will hit F9. Now I'm going to copy this trim path by hitting Ctrl C. I'm going to select all of them and I'll hit Ctrl V. So now if you see, we are getting this kind of animation. Now similarly, I'm going to select all of them and I'll hit Ctrl V. So I'll get this stroke animation over here as well. So let's select all of these layers and let's hide this. And now if you see, we are getting this kind of animation. Okay, over here. Now I need animation should be 1 by 1 and I need their distance should be of 5 frames. So I'll select this layer and move this over here. Move this over here. With the help of open square bracket, I'm going to select each and every layer and I'll move this over here like that. Okay. So if you see this now, we are gonna get this kind of animation. Okay. Now at 5 frames, I'm going to select this one and let's move this over here. Again, I'll move this over here, and we will adjust them in the same way. Let's select all of them and let's enable those layers. So if you see this now, we are getting this kind of reveal. Now if you want, then you can move them up to, let's say, 15 frame as well, like this. So as you guys can see, we are getting this kind of reveal. Now let's select all of them and press Ctrl Shift C and we will call it as logo reveal. Now let's go to the main animation and press Ctrl Y to create one black solid background and bring this downwards. I'm going to select this new logo. I'll go to the effect and presets panel and I'll search for fill effect and double click to apply. And I'm going to choose white color for this. Okay. So if you see this now, we are getting this kind of simple logo reveal. Now let's try to add something a little bit different over here. I'm going to select this and I'll hit Ctrl D around 5 times. Select this one and let's choose red color. Select this fourth one, let's choose blue color. Select this third one, let's choose green color, like that. Select this one and let's choose black color. And again, I'm going to take a distance of 5 frames and let's try to adjust this over here. So if I see this now, we are getting this kind of effect. Okay. Now I need another 2 patterns. So first of all, let's hit Ctrl N and I'm going to call it as lines. And this time I'm going to press Ctrl Y to create one solid background and let's lock this. And I'm going to select my pen tool and from here to here, I'm going to add one white color and let's choose stroke to pixels. Let's select this shape layer, press Ctrl Alt Home. Go to the add menu and we are going to choose repeater. Go to the repeater one, transform repeater one and position should be over here. Okay, like that. Okay, let's make this 15 and now let's increase the number of copies to somewhere around like this. Now hit Ctrl N again and to create another composition and this time I'm going to call it as circles. And again press Ctrl Y to create one solid background and lock this. And this time I'm going to choose ellipse and fill. I'm going to choose white color. And let's delete this stroke. We don't need that stroke. And by holding shift, I'm going to create one small ellipse. Select this and press Ctrl Alt Home. go to the add menu and we are going to choose repeater. Go to the repeater, transform repeater 1, and let's decrease the distance between this over here, and let's increase the number of copies to somewhere around like this. Then select this repeater, hit Ctrl D, go to the repeater 2, transform repeater 2. Let's make this position on x-axis should be 0, and on y-axis I'm going to increase the size. And this time we don't need much more. I think 50 is enough. Okay, now let's go to the main animation and let's go to at this point. And again, I'm going to take a distance of 5 frames, and let's go over here, hit Ctrl 0, and this time I'm going to bring my line composition over here, and let's move this over here. I'll select this new logo, hit Ctrl D, I'll hit enter, and I'll call it as mask, and I'll bring this over here. I'm going to change the color of this one to lavender or something, or even you can choose yellow because it's visible easily. And let's move this over here and choose alpha mask. You can press F4 to enable your track matte. So as you guys can see, we are getting this kind of stuff. Then after that, I'm going to select this and I'll hit Ctrl D again. And again, I'm going to take a distance of 5 frames over here, and let's move this over here like that. Select this layer of lines and let's apply tint effect on it, and let's swap these colors. Okay, after that let's select this 2 layers and hit Ctrl D again and bring this at the top, this 4 layers, and let's try to bring this over here. And after that I'm going to select this lines layers and I'll hit Ctrl 0, and I'm going to select this circle layer, and by holding Alt I'm going to bring them at the top so it will replace them. So we are getting this. And after that I'm going to select this mask and I'll hit Ctrl D and I'll enable this, and I'm going to call it as final logo. And at 15 frames I'm going to bring this over here. So now if I play this animation from the start, as you guys can see, we are getting this kind of revealing effect. Okay, then I'm going to select all of them and I'll press Ctrl Shift C and I'll call it as logo. Then I'll hit Ctrl D to duplicate it and I'll press S for scaling option. I'll unlink this and we will make this -100. Then press P for position and let's bring this downwards like that. So this is going to be obviously the reflection. Then you can select this and you can press F4 and convert this layer into 3D. Press R for rotation and let's rotate it on this axis like that over here. And let's try to bring this a little bit over here. Press T for opacity and let's decrease this opacity. Okay, so as you guys can see, we are getting this kind of animation. Now I'm going to press Ctrl N and I'll call it as fractal. Press Ctrl Y. Go to the Effect and Presets panel and search for Fractal Noise Effect and double click to apply, and increase the contrast and decrease the brightness, and go to the transform properties, unlink this, decrease this, increase the scale width and decrease the scale height, and let's make this scale width to around 2000 and scale height to 5. Let's go to the main animation, hit Ctrl 0 and bring this fractal over here, and let's hide this. Now I'm going to select this 3D layer, go to the Effect and Presets panel and search for Compound Blur Effect and double click to apply, and we are going to choose fractal. Okay, and as you guys can see, we are getting this kind of pattern, but if you want, you can increase this lines like that. Also, you can increase the brightness as well, so you will get something like that. You can increase this opacity as well, so you will get this kind of structure. Okay, so if you see this now, we are getting this kind of pattern. Now you can select this fractal noise. You can alt click on this evolution tab and you can search for time star to somewhere around 300. So we will get this kind of animation, and over here as well we will get that animation. Now after that, simply right click new and create one adjustment layer. Go to the Effect and Presets panel and search for glow effect and double click to apply. Let's increase the glow threshold to 90, glow radius to 100 and glow intensity to 0.5 or let's say 0.2. Okay, so as you guys can see, we are getting this kind of effect over here. Okay, so this is how you will get this kind of logo reveal animation. Now there should be some zoom in, zoom out effects. So for that, right click new and create one null object. Select all of these layers except for this adjustment layer. I'm going to pick it a parent with this null. Select this null, press S and create one keyframe. And when this animation is going to get end somewhere around 7 seconds, I'm going to make this 85 and hit N. Okay, so we will get something like this. So we will get this kind of animation. Now there should be some wiggle effect. So simply press P, alt click on the stopwatch and apply for wiggle effect and let's type 3,3. Okay, so along with this animation, you will get some wiggle effect as well. So this is how you can create any kind of logo reveal animation inside of After Effects with the help of Adobe Illustrator. So here we are in Adobe Photoshop. Now I have this FedEx logo, which is a PNG document, and I have this one white background. I'm going to delete this white background. We don't need that. The only thing we need over here is this logo. And obviously we need each and every stuff on different layer over here. So for that over here, if you see in FedEx logo, this F is kindly connected with this E. So what I can do over here is that instead of you know collecting each and every alphabet, I'm going to select this and this portion only. So I'm going to select my rectangle selection tool and I'm going to select this much area over here like that. Try to choose it properly and hit Ctrl X to cut it out. Create a new layer and press Ctrl Shift V to paste in place. Then hide this. Then select this EX, select this and hit Ctrl X. Create a new layer and press Ctrl Shift V and let's hide this. Okay, so now let's save this file as Photoshop document. Now we'll go to the Adobe After Effects and let's create a new composition and we are going to call it as Me Animation. Width is I'm going to choose 1920, height 180, frame rate is 30, and duration we are not going to choose much more duration but up to 1 minute long. And background color is white color and simply hit OK. Then go to choose create and guide option and simply hit on title selection. Now one thing I forgot to do over here in this logo file, if you see in this logo, if you zoom in properly, this much area looks like a arrow. Okay, so we need to create one arrow. So I'm going to go under top layer and over here I'm going to create another layer. Then I'm going to press P for position, not position, sorry, but pen tool. And then we are going to create one point over here, one point over here. By holding shift, you can create one other point over here, then another point over here, over here, over here, here, and here. And hit enter and you can hit and hit control enter and select this portion and hold alt backspace or you can choose any color you want and hit control D, then hit control 0. So we got this one arrow over here. If you want, then you can double click on it and let's type arrow over there. Okay, and let's hide this. Now save this file as Photoshop document. Now let's go to the After Effects and press Ctrl I to select this Photoshop file. Import as instead of footage, choose composition, return layer sizes and simply click import and hit OK. Double click to open this. Select all of these layers, hit Ctrl C to copy, go to the main animation and hit Ctrl V and let's move this over here like that. Then right click new and create one null object. Select all the other layers and make it a parent with this null. Select this null, press S and let's decrease the scale of this and let's delete this null object. Now select all of them and let's try to bring this over here. Now we have this arrow over here which we will animate later. Now hit Ctrl N to create another composition and we are going to call it as PG and hit OK. Then press G, which is a shortcut key in After Effects for pen tool, and stroke width I'm going to choose 1 pixels. Then zoom out a little bit. From here to here I'm going to create one stroke. Then select this and press Ctrl Alt Home to align that anchor point to the center. Go to the Align tab, align it horizontally and then align it vertically, and let's make this fit. Then go to the Align tab and we are going to choose Align Left. Then go to the Add menu and we are going to choose Repeater over here. Go to the Repeater 1, Transform Repeater 1, and let's decrease the position value and then increase the number of copies up to this, and let's minimize this. Then select this, hit Ctrl D, press R for rotation, and let's rotate it on 90-degree. Go to the Align tab, align it horizontally, and then go and choose Align Top like that, and let's make this full resolution. Now let's select all of these layers, and stroke width I'm going to choose 0.2 only. Okay, so if you maximize this, we will get something like that. Then I'm going to press Ctrl Y and I'm going to choose somewhere around white color and hit, let's try to run this downwards. Go to the effect and presets panel and search for CC wing jet effect and double click to apply. So if you see over here, if you disable this, we are gonna get this kind of a structure. So this much looks good to me. Now let's go to the main animation. Hit Ctrl 0. Let's bring this BG layer over here like that. And if you see this in full resolution, we are gonna get something like this. Okay. Now I'm gonna go and select my ellipse tool. And I'm going to delete this stroke. We don't need that. And for the fill, with the help of the speaker, I'm going to pick up this color. And now let's hide all of these logos. Now by holding shift, let's create one ellipse like that. Now select this and press Ctrl Alt Home to align that anchor point to the center. Go to the Align tab, align it horizontally and then align it vertically like that. Then let's select this and press V and let's try to bring this over here like that. Okay. Then select this and hit Ctrl B. Let's try to bring this over here like that. Okay. Zoom in, it should touch this area like this. Okay. So this looks good to me. Now let's enable this logos. I'm going to select this topmost area, go to the fill option, and with the help of the speaker, I'm going to pick up this orange color. Okay, let's hide this logos again. So we got this two balls. Now let's try to animate this. So let's select these two and press P for position. Select those, right click and choose separate dimensions. Let's create one keyframe at X and one keyframe at X and over here like that. Go to around 1 second, create one keyframe at X and one keyframe at Y. Go to around 20, again create one keyframe at X and one keyframe at X. Okay. Now somewhere in the middle, I'm going to select this one and I'll move this over here. Select this and I'll move this over here. Then in the middle over here, let's bring this over here. Let's select this and let's bring this over here. Now let's select those keyframes and hit F9. Go to the graph, select this and right click and make sure that you are in edit speed graph. Let's select this and by holding shift move this handle at this point and move this handle at this point. Then select this portion, move this handle at this point, select this and move this handle at this point. So you will get something like that. Okay. Then similarly at this portion, move this over line over here and move this line over here. Okay. Like that. So if you check around this, we got something like that. Okay. Over here. Now press S, create one keyframe, go somewhere around 10, create another keyframe, go to the start and let's link this value 0. Okay, we are getting something like that. Then go few frame forwards, select this and let's move this word like this. Okay, so we will get two animations like that. Or if you want, you can bring this a little bit over here as well. So it will come a little bit later like this. Okay. Now right click new and create one null object. Let's select both of these layers and make it apparent with this null. Then select this null, press R for rotation, create one keyframe, go few frame forward over here and create another keyframe. Now go to the start and let's try to rotate it like that. So if you check it out this, we are getting something like that. So select those keyframe and let's hit F9 like this. Okay. If you want, then you can move it completely like that as well. Okay, you can, let's bring this somewhere up to this only. Okay, like this. Let's select this and enable the motion blur for these two. So we will get something like that. Okay, we got this kind of a structure. Now, after that, I'm going to select these two over here like that. And then I'm going to select this null object, press R for rotation to create one keyframe, go few frame forward, and let's rotate it like this. Okay. So if you check it out this, we are getting something like that. Then select those keyframe and hit F9. Let's by holding Alt bring this up to this over here. Then select these two walls, press S, create one keyframe. Then press P, create one keyframe at X as well as one keyframe at Y. Then somewhere around at this point, I'm going to select this orange and let's move this over here. Select this and let's try to move this over here like that. Then press S on this as well as on this. Try to increase the scale of this one and try to increase the scale of this one as well. Okay, and hit U as well as hit U. Select those position and scaling keyframes of this as well as this one object. We are gonna get something like that. Go to the graph editor, select this graph, make sure to hit F9, bring one handle at this point, then select this and move one handle at this point. Okay, so if you check it out this now, we got this, we got this, okay, like that. Then after this, I'm going to select this and create one keyframe, go few frame forward and let's rotate it like this. Similarly, select those, create one keyframe at position and Y, go over here. Let's select this and let's move this out of this composition. Select this and move this out of this composition. Okay, we got something like that. Okay, select those and hit F9 like this. Okay, then somewhere around at this point when they are completely gone, I hold Alt, close square bracket to trim up to this. So if you check it out this, we got this, then we got this, and then we got this. Okay, like that. Now, after this, right click, new, and create one null object, another null object, and this null object which controls this position and rotation stuff. Let's make it a parent with this first null object. Select this null object, press E for position, Alt click on this position and apply wiggle 3, 3. So what will happen along all the other stuff, we are gonna get that wiggle animation effect over there. Okay, like that. Now, when this animation is about to be gone, I want my this animation of logos should appear. Except this arrow, I'm enabling all this logo layers and let's move this over here. Press P for position, create one keyframe, then press T for opacity to create another keyframe. Hit U, go few frame forward, create again keyframes on position and opacity, go to the start and let's bring this over here and let's make this 0. Then select those keyframes of position and rotate, opacity, hit F9, go to the graph, select this graph and let's move this handle over here. Then I'm going to take the gap of few frames over here, this over here, and let's move this over here like that. So if you check it out this, we are gonna get something like that. Select this last keyframes and try to bring them a little bit, away from each other. So we will get that really. Okay. So we got this and then this and over here. Now, at this point, I'm gonna go and bring my rounded rectangle and let's choose this. Let's choose a red color and let's create one rounded rectangle. Then select this rounded rectangle and press Ctrl Alt Home to align that anchor point to the center. Go to the align tab, align it horizontally and align it vertically. Go to the rectangle or rectangle path. Let's increase the roundness. increase the size of this like that. Disable this size and let's create one keyframe at size and hold alt open square bracket to trim up to this. So if we check it out this, we got this over here. Then somewhere around at this point when they are rotating, I'm going to bring them over here. Let's create one keyframe. Then go somewhere around at this point, create another keyframe and initially let's make this value 0. Select those keyframe, hit F9, go to the graph editor, select this graph by holding shift, move this handle over here and move this handle over here. Okay, like that. Then somewhere around at this point, I'm going to select this and this people position, go few frame forward and I'm going to move this out of this composition. Again, select those keyframe, hit F9, go to the graph, select this, move this handle at this point and move this handle at this point. Okay, and hit U. So if you check it out this, we got this, then we got this. And don't forget to enable the motion level. Okay, like that. Now, after that, right click new and create one adjustment layer. And let's bring this downward after the shape layer and press F4 and choose alpha mask. Okay, so now this shape layer is gonna act like a mask. Then somewhere around at this point over here, we will do our magic. So simply go to the effect and presets panel and search for Gaussian blur effect and double click to apply. And let's apply this blurriness value to somewhere around like this. So we will get this kind of a shape over here. Okay, like that. Now after that, we will try to bring this adjustment layer up to this layer like that. Okay. Now after that, I'm going to select this shape layer and I'll hit Ctrl D and let's bring this downwards and enable this. Hit enter and let's call it as shadow like them. Now let's go to the effect and presets panel and let's search for what we can see CC radial fast blur and double click to apply. And let's go to the shadow and we are going to choose black color for it. And let's increase the amount to 90 or let's say 99. And let's select this center somewhere around at this point. Okay, bring it over here. Now go to the shadow colors, go to the fill options, and we are going to choose this kind of, or let's say somewhere this, or with the help of the sticker, you can pick up this color as well. You can pick up to something like that and hit OK. Then if you want, then you can press T for opacity and try to reduce this opacity a little bit. Then select this shadow, hit Ctrl D, and this time I'm going to remove the CC radial fast stroke and Digitech on this one and hit enter and let's call it as shadow mask. Okay, and we are going to choose alpha inverted mask. So now as you guys can see, we are getting this kind of a shadow. So if you check it out this, we got this animation and then we got this and then we are going to get this. Now, if you remember that we have created one arrow over here. So it's time to bring this arrow at the top and let's enable this over here. And I want this arrow should come over here and press S to increase the scale. And if you want to, you can apply any color to it. Like let's apply free effect and let's give it a white color. Okay, like that. It's totally up to you what kind of color you want to give. Otherwise, if you are happy with this color, then that's also okay. I'm going to choose white color over here. And now when it's coming over here, I'll select this and move this over here. And let's try to bring this over here. And press P for position to create one keyframe. Go few frame forward and let's try to bring this at the center. So simply select align horizontally. So it will come over here like that. Now after that, to move this out on this composition, what I'm going to do, let's go somewhere around over here and let's bring this keyframe over here like that. So if we check it on this, we are getting something like that. Select those position keyframes and hit F9. Go to the graph editor, select this and move this handle over here. Select this and move this handle over here. So we will get something like that. And then to go from here to at this point, I'm not going to choose position over here. In fact, I'm going to select this and I'll go to the effect and presets panel and I'll search for transform effect and double click to apply this transform effect. And somewhere in the middle at this point, I'm going to create one keyframe at position, hit U and go somewhere around over here like that. And I'm going to change the position of this one to this one. Now select those position keyframes, hit F9, go to the graph, select this, move this handle over here, this handle over here. So if you check it out this, we are gonna get something like that. Okay. So this is how we will get this kind of an effect over there. So if we check it out this animation now, we got this, then we got this, and then we got this. Okay. So this is how we will get this kind of a structure. Now, if you want, you can go to this BG and you can remove the CC vintage effect if you want, because we have already applied the drop shadow effect over here. So we don't need that much. And if you want, then you can, if you don't need this, lines kind of a structure, then you are okay to do that as well, because then we will get something like that. So it's totally up to you. This is just an extra procedure. If you want, then you can reduce the stroke width up to 0.1 as well. Just those lines are just to add a little bit depth to your animation. It's totally up to you whether you want to leave it or not. Okay. Then after all of this, simply right click new and create one null object. Select all the layers which are not parent with anyone except this background and make it a parent with this null object. Initial null object scale, I'm going to choose 115 to create one keyframe. Okay, like that. Then as the animation goes further, somewhere up to 6 to 7 seconds, I'm going to make this value 90 and hit N over there. So if you check it out this animation now, along with this animation, we are going to get that scaling animation over here. So yep, this is how you can create this kind of a animation. I'm going to hide this because I'm happy with this white background only, like that. And press F4 and don't forget to enable the motion blur for each and every layer over there, like that. Okay. So this is how we will build this kind of a animation. So first of all, here we are in Adobe After Effects. Let's create a new composition and we are going to call it as main animation. Width is 1920, height is 180 and frame rate I'm going to choose 60 seconds. So our animation is going to be very smooth, and duration I'm going to choose 30, and background color, let's choose black color. Simply hit OK and hit OK. Then we will go to choose grid and guide option and simply hit on title selection. Then I'm going to open my calculator and we will do some calculations. So 1920 divided by 4 is going to be 480. Similarly, if I choose 1080 divided by 3 and hit enter, I'll get 360, which means I need to create another composition. So hit Ctrl N and we will call it as box 01. Okay, and we are going to choose this value over there. So for this I'm going to choose 480. So let's type 480 over there, and over here we will type 360. So let's type 360 over there. Okay, so we are getting this kind of box. After that, I'm going to select my rounded rectangle and simply double click to create this rounded rectangle. Go to this one, go to the rectangle path, and let's go increase the roundness somewhere around like this. Okay, now I'm going to select my text tool and we are going to type our text, and for the font I'm going to choose Poppins font and I'm going to choose black color. And now we will type our text. I'm going to type F first. Let's select this and press Ctrl Alt Home. Go to the Align tab, align it horizontally and then align it vertically. Press S for scaling option and let's scale it like this. And let's zoom it over here. Hit Ctrl D and let's type O. Hit Ctrl D. Let's move this over here. And let's type U. Select this, hit Ctrl D, move this over here, and let's type R. Okay, so basically we are going to type 4. Let's select this F and let's move this over here. select this O, move this over here. Let's move this over here and let's move this over here. Okay, so this is going to be the distance between these alphabets. You can adjust this according to your needs. For this tutorial, I'm going to adjust it like that only. Now let's select all of them and press P for position, create one keyframe, then press S for scaling option, create another keyframe and hit U. Now after that, let's go to around 1 second and I'm going to select this F and let's increase the size of this to somewhere around like this. And I'll go to the align tab and I'm going to choose align horizontally. Then I'm going to select this O over here as well as this U. Let's try to bring them closer to this. Similarly, select this R, let's keep it over there and let's bring this O to somewhere around like that. Okay, so if you see, we are getting this kind of structure. Then let's go somewhere around over here like that. First this, again we will take a gap of 1 second. At this point, I'm going to create keyframe on each and every one. Similarly, at this point, make sure to create keyframe on each and every one. Okay, so first this and then we will get this. Then zoom in over here and let's go to around 3 seconds. And now we will simply copy first keyframe. So hit Ctrl C, Ctrl V, their first keyframe. So if you see this now, first we will get this, then we will get this. Then again up to 4 seconds, I'm not gonna go do anything. Select all of them, create one keyframe again, go to around 5 seconds, make sure to create all keyframe, go to around 5 seconds, and this time I'm going to select this O and we are going to increase the size of this. So select this F first and let's see at this point how much amount we took, which is 113. So similarly at 5 seconds, I'm going to select this O and I'm going to make this 113. Okay. Similarly, go to the align tab and choose align horizontally. This time I'm going to select this F and I'll move this over here. I'll select this U and I'll move this over here near the R. Similarly, make sure to create keyframe on each and every part. Take a gap of 1 second, create keyframes, go to around 7 seconds, and again we'll copy the first keyframe. So hit Ctrl C, Ctrl V, Ctrl C, Ctrl V, Ctrl C, Ctrl V. Okay, like that. Again take a gap of 1 second, select all keyframes, go to around 9 seconds, select this U and let's make this 113. Again go to the align tab and align it horizontally. And this time I'm going to select this R and let's move this closer to this. Then select this, move closer to this O. And again create keyframe on each and every portion like that. So if you see this now, we will get something like this. Take a gap of 1 second over here as well. Select all of them, create keyframes, go to around 1 second like that. Simply Ctrl C, Ctrl V first keyframes. And now at last, let's take a gap of 1 second at 12. Select all of them, create another keyframe each over here like that. Go to around 30 seconds, select this and let's make this 113. Go to the align tab, choose align horizontally, select this one. Let's move this over here like this, or you can select this F over here as well. Similarly, select this and let's move this over here. Okay, like that. And create all keyframes. Okay, like this. Go to around 14 frames. Select all of them. Create keyframe. Go to around 15 frames like this. 15 seconds. Copy Ctrl C, Ctrl V first keyframes like that. Go to around 16 seconds, select all of them and enable the keyframe. Okay, and if I hit N over here, as you guys can see, we will after the end over here, we are gonna get this animation in the form of loop. Now, what can I do I can select those keyframe and I can hit F9. I can go to the graph editor. I can select this graph, zoom in a little bit. By holding shift, I'll move one handle over here and I'll move one handle over here. So automatically all handles are going to be like that. So now if I say this, I'll get this kind of structure. Now I can, by holding Alt, I can bring all of this to 10 seconds as well. Okay, so I'll bring this up to 10. Okay, by holding Alt, and I'll hit N over there. So if you see this now, we are getting something like this. Okay, and this animation is ending at 10. So I'll simply right click and I'll choose trim comp to work area. Let's go to the main animation and bring this box over here. And let's go inside this box and press Ctrl Y. And let's create some red color background. Okay, and hit U. And let's bring this downwards. Now let's select this box. Let's go to the end of this composition. So hit O and simply right click and go to the time and choose time enable remapping and hit page up button one time. So you will go one frame backward, create another keyframe, and let's delete this keyframe. Then alt click on this stopwatch and let's type loop out expression over there. Okay, so what will happen if I increase this? After that, again it will start doing the first animation. And now we'll go to the start, we'll go to the align tab and let's go to the align left, hit Ctrl D and let's, by holding Ctrl, move this over here, hit Ctrl D, let's move this over here, hit Ctrl D and let's move this over here. So now if you see, we are getting this kind of animation over there. Now let's go somewhere around over here. At this point over here, if you see, let's go over here, hit U. At this point, F is happening. So let's select this over here. And by holding Alt, I'll move this over here. Alt, open square bracket, I'll trim up to this. Then at this point, let's go over here. Let's see where is O happening at this point. So let's select this and by holding Alt, trim up to this. I'll go inside this, hit key to go forward. And let's see at this point, U is appearing. So by holding Alt, open square bracket, I'll move this over here. Okay, like that. Similarly, let's go over here. At this point, R is happening. So let's, by holding Alt, move this over here. If I go to the start by hitting Ctrl A, I'll select all of them. And with the help of open square bracket, I'll move this over here. And if I see this now, animation in quadrant resolution, I'll get this kind of structure over there. Okay, now let's do one thing. I'm going to take a gap of 10 frames and let's move this over here. Let's move this over here and let's move this over here. So if you see this now, we are getting something like this. Now let's go to the start and let's move this over here. Like this. Okay. Now hit U, right click, new and create one null object. Select all of these boxes and by holding Ctrl D, I'll create duplicate and let's bring them at the bottom. And let's change the color of this one to yellows. Now let's select all the uppermost boxes and I'm going to make it a parent with this null. Let's select this null and press P for position, create one keyframe. And if you guys know that this animation was in the form of loop at 10 seconds, so I'll go to the 10 second over here and I'm going to move this null object in such a way that this thing should go out of this composition like that. Okay, and then when my current time indicator is at 10 seconds, I'm going to select all of these yellow boxes and I'll make it a parent with this null. Okay, and I'll alt click on this and I'm going to call it as loop out expression and hit N over there. And now if I see this animation, I'm gonna get this animation over here. and I'll get some alternations. Okay, so this is the first one. Now let's select all of them and press Ctrl Shift C, and we will call it as 01. Now I'll select this 01 and I'll enable this icon. I'll hit Ctrl D and I'll try to bring this over here like that. So similarly, I'll hit Ctrl D and I'll try to bring this over here like this. And if I want alternations over here, I can again adjust this like 20 frames. Let's select this one and move this over here. Go to 40 frames, select this one and move this over here. And by hitting Ctrl A, select all of them and let's bring them at the start. So we will get this kind of structure. Okay, so as you guys can see, we are getting this kind of structure, and even after 10 frames, if you see this properly, this animation is going to be in the form of loop. Now let's go to the box and hit U, select all of this shape layer and hit Ctrl D, and let's bring this at the top. And this time I'm going to delete this fill, I don't need that, and I'm going to add black color for the stroke, and let's choose stroke to 8 pixels. After that, select this and press S, and let's decrease the scale of this, and let's make this full resolution. And I think the stroke weight is too much, so let's make this 4. And then go inside this, go to the add, and I'm going to choose trim path. Then go to the frame path and let's make this end value to 80 like that. Then go to the start and let's create one keyframe at offset and hit U, and this animation is in the form of loop at 10. So let's make this one complete rotation over there like that. And now after all these things are done, I'm going to select this red solid background and let's hide this. And now if I see this structure over here, I'm gonna get this animation like this in the form of loop. I can select this shape layer which is over here, and I can go to the search option and I'll search for size, and we have the size over here. Let's unlink this, and I'm going to simply type -10 over here like this, and at this point as well I'm going to type -10. And if you see this now, we'll get the gap between these options like that. And this is how we will get this animation continuously in the form of loop. Adobe Photoshop. Now I have this Google PNG logo over here. I'm going to press M on my keyboard, so it will automatically select my rectangle selection tool. I'm going to select this G, and then I'll press Ctrl X to cut it out, create a new layer and press Ctrl Shift V to paste. Then I'll hide this. Then I'm going to select this O. I'll hit Ctrl X to cut it out, create a new layer and press Ctrl Shift V, and let's hide this. Then I'm going to select this O, hit Ctrl X, create a new layer, press Ctrl Shift V, and let's double click on it, and we will name these layers like this should be G. Okay, and let's hide this. Then I'm going to select this G. I'll hit Ctrl X, new layer, press Ctrl Shift V, double click, and let's call it as G. Then I'll select this portion, hit Ctrl X, new layer, Ctrl Shift V to paste in place. Let's call it as L, and this is going to be my E. Okay, and let's save this file as a Photoshop document. Now I'm gonna go in Adobe After Effects and I'll create a new composition, and I'm going to call it as main animation. Width is 1920, height is 180, frame rate we are going to choose 59.94, and let's make the duration up to 1 minute only like that, and background to white color, and let's go to choose grid and guide option and simply hit on title selection. Now let's save this file. Now first thing first, we need to create our animation, which is going to be like atom animation. So let's select your ellipse, and this time we are going to choose fill black, and let's delete this stroke like that, and by holding shift I'm going to create one ellipse. Then select this and press Ctrl Alt Home to align that anchor point to the center. Then go to the align tab, align it horizontally and then align it vertically. Select this, hit enter, and let's call it as nucleus. Okay, hit Ctrl D, hit enter, and now this time call it as orbit. Okay,
Then go to inside this orbit, ellipse path, and we are going to increase the size. But before that, we need to delete this fill. We don't need that fill. And for the stroke, choose black color for the stroke, and stroke width, let's choose 10, and let's increase the stroke size like that. Then select this orbit and hit Ctrl D, or let's delete this. First of all, select this orbit and click on this size over here, and we will create a keyframe, and let's make this value 200 like that. Then select this, hit Ctrl D, hit U. Let's make this value 300, or let's make this 250 maybe, like that. And let's change the stroke to 8. Select this, hit Ctrl D, hit U. Let's make this 300, and let's make this stroke width to 6. Select this, hit Ctrl D, hit U. Let's make this value 350, and change the stroke width to 4. Select this, hit Ctrl D, hit U. Let's make this 400, and let's make this stroke width 2. Okay, so as you guys can see, we are getting this kind of structure, and hit U. Now select all of them, and hit U over here, and we haven't created any size keyframe over here. So in search option, you can simply type size, so it will automatically show that and create one keyframe. Now hit U again. Then we are gonna go somewhere around 1.30 frames. Select all of them and enable another keyframe on each and every size. Then go to the start, select all the layers, and let's make this 0 size in for each and every one like this. So now if you see, we are getting this kind of animation. Now select those lines and hit F9. Go to the graph editor, select this graph. By holding shift, move one handle over here. Select this, and by holding shift, move one handle over here. Okay, so if you see this, now we are getting something like this. Now I want this animation one by one, so let's take a distance of 10 frames over here for each. Let's adjust it like that. Okay, so if you see this, now we will get something like this. Okay, now after that, I'm going to select this nucleus, and or you can press F4 to enable this option. Select all of them and convert these layers into 3D, and let's see this animation. Now we will get something like this. Now right click new and create one null object. Select all of them and make it a parent with this null, and select this null and convert this layer into 3D. Now if you press R for rotation, as you guys can see, we will get this kind of rotation over here. Now instead of that, what we can do over here is that we will select all of these orbits, and we will press R for rotation, and we can rotate it on this axis as well as this axis. So let's create one keyframe at X and one keyframe at Y. Then go to around 3 seconds, and we will move this over here a little bit and over here a little bit. Okay, like that. Let's try to adjust it, this portions like this. Okay, now let's select those keyframes, and we will hit F9. Then we'll go to the graph editor, select this graph. By holding shift, we'll move one handle over here, and we'll move one handle over here like this. So if you see this, now we'll get this animation first, and then this animation first over here. Now let's move this animations over here. Let's go somewhere around at 2 frames, move this over here like this. Then I'm going to take a distance of 5 frames this times. Let's select this keyframe, hit Ctrl X, Ctrl V. Then go over here, select those keyframe, hit Ctrl X, Ctrl V. Go over here, select this, hit Ctrl X, Ctrl V. Go over here, select this, hit Ctrl X, Ctrl V like this. So okay, so if you see this, now first we will get this, and then we are gonna get this. Now let's select those portions, and let's bring them a little bit closer over, so animation will be a little bit faster. Now along with that, there should be some rotating animation for this. So for that, we need to add trim path. So let's select this trim path, go to the add menu, and we are going to choose trim path. Go to the trim path, and let's make this value 80, and we will create one keyframe at offset. Then we will go to around 4 seconds, and we will make this one complete rotation over here. So if you see this, now we will get this kind of rotation. Then alt click on this stopwatch, and let's type loop out expression over there. Okay, like this. Now let's copy this trim path by hitting Ctrl C and hit U to minimize all of them. Select this second layer, press I to go at the start and hit Ctrl V. Similarly, I hit Ctrl V, select this, I hit Ctrl V, select this, I, press I, hit Ctrl V, select this I and press Ctrl V to apply that trim path. Now if you hit U and if you hit play, we are gonna get something like this. Oops, I think I have applied this trim path to the nucleus as well. We can simply delete that, go and delete this trim path. Okay, and hit U. So now if you see this, we are gonna get something like this. Okay, now one thing over here you can do is that you can change this value to, like for example, this should be 2, you like that. Okay, so you will get a little bit faster rotation. For this one you can choose 4, for this one you can choose 8, like that. So if you see this now, we'll first guess this and then we will get this. Okay, like that. So okay, now after that let's select this and press S, and if you increase the size, as you guys can see, we will get something like that. So now if I see this animation, I'll get this and then this. Okay, but we will bring this somewhere around over here at this point. Now hit U, and at this point let's select this, press S, create one keyframe, and when it's going to go get rotate completely at this point, I'm going to increase the size of this somewhere around like this. Select those keyframe and hit F9, then go to the graph editor, select this graph by holding shift, move one handle over here and move one handle over here. Okay, so if you see this, we will get something like this. Okay, now let's select all of this orbit. In search option, let's type cap. Okay, now line cap, choose round cap, and let's choose round cap, and let's choose round cap over here. Also over here choose round cap. Okay, hit U. Now if you see this animation, we will get this and we will get this. Now after all of this, we will try to rotate these animations. So let's select all of this and press R for rotation, and again you can select those keyframe, hit Ctrl C, Ctrl V, right click, keyframe assistance, time reverse keyframe, so you will get these rotations. Okay, we will follow the same procedure. Select this, hit Ctrl C, Ctrl V, right click, keyframe assistance, time reverse keyframe, Ctrl C, Ctrl V, right click, keyframe assistance, time reverse. Select this, Ctrl C, Ctrl V, right click, keyframe assistance, time reverse. Select this, hit Ctrl C, Ctrl V, right click, keyframe assistance, time reverse. So we are gonna get something like this. Now over here, instead of this, we are going to choose different values. So let's select all of these layers and we will change this value to somewhere around like this, and change this value to somewhere around like this. So if you see, we will get something like that. Now hit page down button 1 to 2 times over here. Let's select this, hit Ctrl X, Ctrl V, again 2 times over here, Ctrl X, Ctrl V, again 2 times, Ctrl X, Ctrl V, sorry, like that. Okay, so we are getting this kind of closing animation, you can say. And now hit U and select all of them and enable the motion blur. So when they are going to close themselves, let's make this quad resolution, there should be some motion blur in their animation. Okay, like that. Now after that, when this is going to happen, I want scales to get a little bit low. So hit U, let's go somewhere around over here, select this, press S and create one keyframe, Then at this point, let's make this value 0 and select those keyframe and hit F9 like that. Okay, let's bring this a little bit over here. Okay, now if you see this animation from the start, let's disable this motion blur just for now. We'll get this, then we'll get this, and then we'll get this. Now at this point, I want this nucleus to get small, and we will try to animate our Google animations. So press Ctrl I to bring our Photoshop file. So select this footage, composition, retain cellular sizes, hit import and hit OK. Double click to open this, select all of them, hit Ctrl C, go over here, hit Ctrl V and press V, and let's try to bring them over here like this. So then right click, new, and create one null object. Select all of them and make it apparent with this null. Select this null, press S, and let's decrease the scale of this to somewhere around like this. Okay, now they are going to come from here, so let's delete this null object. Now when this is going to get over here, I'm going to select all of them, and with the help of open square bracket, I'll move this over here. Press P for position, create one keyframe like this. Then select all of them, press R for rotation, create another keyframe and hit U, and go somewhere around over here like this. Create one keyframe at position and one keyframe at rotation. Then go to the start. Let's go to the align tab, align it horizontally and then align it vertically, and let's bring them at the start and press S, create one keyframe, hit U, go over here, create another keyframe, go to the start, and let's make this value over here like this. Okay, now go over here, we will select this and this, and we need to rotate it on negative direction. So let's make this -1 over here, and this one is going to be at the center, so we don't need to add any rotation. On this one I'm going to type +1, so let's make this +1. Okay, so if you see, we will get something like this. Let's select this, we need to make this +1. Select this, we need to make this +1. Select this, we need to make this +1. On this one, I don't think we need to add any rotation, so let's make this 0. So if you see, we will get something like this. Now we need to make this movement a little bit faster, so let's select all of them and hit F9. Go to the graph editor, select this graph, by holding shift move this handle over here like this. Select this and move this handle over here. Okay, now at this point we need to change the color of this entire stuff. So for that, what we can do is that at the center, if you see, our main O is in yellow color. So what we can do, we will select this nucleus and we will select our selection option, and let's select this nucleus, and we will go to the fill options, and with the help of this picker, I'm going to pick up this yellow color and hit OK. Okay, similarly for this lines over here, for example this one which is outer side over here, what we can do is that I'm gonna go in stroke options, I'll pick up this color. For this one, I'll go to the stroke options, I'm going to pick up this red color. For this line, I'm going to pick up this green color. For this line, again I'm going to pick up this red color, and for this line again I'm going to pick up this blue color. Okay, so let's see. You first get this animation like this. Okay, and when this is going to happen, at this point I'm going to select this nucleus as well as all of these lines by holding Alt. I'll close all of this, Alt, close square bracket, I'll trim up to this, so we'll get something like this transition. Okay, Now select all of them, enable the motion blur. And now if I see this, let's see in half resolution, we will get this animation over here first, like that. And it will take a little bit time to load this animation, but our final output would be awesome, and our transition will look a little bit smoother, like this. Let's see this animation from the start again. We'll get this animation, then this, like that. So okay, over here. Okay, now one thing over here we need to do, that we need to bring this O at the top. Okay, that's the only change we need to do in this animation now, like that. So we will get this kind of transition. So as you guys can see, just with the help of simple steps, we can create this kind of simple Google logo reveal animation. I have this Yahoo logo, and just like our previous tutorials, we need each and every alphabet on each and every layer. First thing first, we need to remove this white background. So simply go to the select options and choose color range, and with the help of this picker, I'm going to pick up this white color, and fuzziness I'm going to choose 80, and simply delete this white color and hit Ctrl D to deselect. Now press L for lasso tool, and with the help of lasso tool, I'm going to select this Y over here, and I'll hit Ctrl X to cut it out, create a new layer, and press Ctrl Shift V to paste in place. Double click and let's call it as Y. Same thing I'm going to do this for A. Select this much portion, hit Ctrl X, new layer, Ctrl Shift V, double click, let's call it as A, and hide this. Now this time I'm going to press M for rectangle selection, then select this edge, select this layer, hit Ctrl X, new layer, Ctrl Shift V, double click, call it as H, hide this. Then we are going to select this O, hit Ctrl X, new layer, Ctrl Shift V, let's call it as O, like this. Then we'll select this O over here, hit Ctrl X, new layer, Ctrl Shift V, let's call it as O, and we will call it this layer like this. Okay, sorry, double click, shift. Okay, and let's save this Photoshop file. Now we'll go to the Adobe After Effects and we'll create a new composition, which we will name as always meme animation. Width is 1920, height is 180, frame rate we are going to choose 59.94, and duration is also about 1 minute, and background color is white color, and simply hit OK. Go to choose grid and guide option and simply hit on title selection. I'm going to press Ctrl I and I'll select my Photoshop file, import as. Instead of footage, I'm going to choose composition, return layer sizes, and simply hit import and hit OK. Then double click to open this, select all of these layers and hit Ctrl C to copy. Go to the main animation and hit Ctrl V, then right click new and create one null object. Select all of these layers and make it a parent with this null object. Select this, press S, and let's bring this a little bit smaller. Now let's delete this null object, and now we will try to animate our stuff. But before that, let's select all of this and hit Ctrl D, and let's bring them downwards, and we will change the color of this layers to yellow, and we will lock the scale layer, and we will select those layers yellow and press T for opacity, and we'll make the opacity to 40, and we will lock this layers and we will hit U. Okay, just like that. Now this is going to be our guidelines, you can say. Now let's try to animate our stuff. Now I'm going to let's hide all of these layers over here, and we will select only this H and two O's at the top, out of which I'm going to select this O over here, and I'll move this over here like that. Let's select this and let's move this over here like that. Okay, now let's try to animate this stuff. Now over here, what kind of animation we do, let's see. We will select all of this and press P for position. By holding shift, I'm going to select those layers, right click and choose separate dimensions over here. Let's create one keyframe at X and one keyframe at Y. Then I'm gonna go somewhere around at 1 minute, and over here I'm going to select this O and I'll bring this over here, select this O and I'll bring this over here. and select this H, and I'll bring this over here like that. Select this, let's bring this over here. Select this and let's bring this over here. Okay, then go to the start, select all of them, or let's bring this over here and let's bring this over here like this. Okay, and let's make this fit. So if you see, we are getting something like this. Then somewhere around at this point, I'm going to select this edge. Let's bring this over here. Let's select this and let's bring this over here. Select this and let's bring this over here. Okay, so if you see this animation now, we will get something like this. Okay, now let's select those, and after that we will go somewhere around over here. We will select this top one, which is this one. Let's go few frame forward and we will create one keyframe at Y, and at this point I'm going to bring this a little bit upward. Okay, then select all of this keyframe, and by holding Alt I'm going to bring this up to here. So if you see, we will get something like that. Now let's hit F9, go to the graph editor, select this graph. By holding shift, move one handle over here, select this, move one handle over here, select this, move one handle over here, zoom in, select this, and let's move one handle over here, select this, move one handle over here, select this, and move one handle over here, select this, zoom in, and let's move this over here. Okay, so we will get something like this. Now along with that we need rotation animation as well, so press R for rotation, create one keyframe, hit U, go over here, and let's make this one complete rotation at this point. Okay, so if you see, we will get something like this. Okay, and then after a few points around over here, we need this portion over here, which is this one, and let's, with the help of open square bracket, move this over here. Press P for position, select this, right click and choose separate dimensions, and let's create one keyframe at X and one keyframe at Y. Press R for rotation, and let's rotate it on 90 degree, or let's go somewhere around over here, and let's bring this over here, and we will create one keyframe at X and Y. We will go somewhere around, let's say over here. We will move this from here to here like this. Okay, let's select this and we will hit F9 and go to the graph, zoom in, select this graph. By holding shift, move one handle over here and move one handle over here, so it will look like it's colliding over here. Let's bring this keyframes over here like that. So first we will get this and then this. I think this animation should come at this point, and then after this what we can do is that we need to go somewhere around over here. Let's select this, and let's try to bring this position properly over here, and then go over here, press R, create one keyframe, hit U, go over here, and we need to rotate it on proper axis. So let's rotate it like this over here, and let's try to adjust the position, and in middle of that we need to bring the Y position somewhere around over here. We don't need any keyframe on X position. Okay, then select those Y position keyframes, go to the graph, select those graph on Y position, and first thing first, hit F9, then select this. By holding shift, move this handle over here, move this handle over here, select this, move this handle over here, select this and move this handle over here. So if you see, we will get something like this. Okay, so if you see this, first we will get this and then we will get something like this. Okay, now after that there should be animation for this O and this O, as well as this A and Y. Okay, so let's select this Y and A, and let's, with the help of open square bracket, move them over here. Then press P for position, select those P for position, right click and choose separate dimension. Let's create one keyframe at X and one keyframe at Y. Then select this O as well, press P, create one keyframe at X and one keyframe at Y. Then go somewhere around at this point. Let's select this O, move this O over here, select this O, and let's move this O over here, and in middle of that select and select both of these layers, and by holding shift move this over here. And let's delete those Y position key, X position keyframe. I'm going to select this O and I'll bring this a little bit upward like this. Okay, let's delete this Y position, X position keyframes. Similarly for this Y and A, at this point create one keyframe at X and one keyframe at Y, and at this point I want this Y should be over here and this A should be over here. Okay, then go over here. At this point let's change the Y and A position over here, and we don't need X position keyframes. Okay, we can select those X position keyframes, and we will hit F9 on that. Okay, like that. Then we will select those Y position keyframes of each and every layer. By holding shift you can simply select those Y position keyframes, and let's hit F9. Then go to the graph editor, select this graph. By holding shift move this handle over here and move this handle over here, select this, move this handle over here, select this and move this handle over here. Now along with that we will press R for rotation, and we will create one keyframe over here. Then hit U, go over here. At this point we will make this I don't think we need to change the rotation for O, but for these we will make this -1 rotation. Select those rotation keyframes by holding shift and hit F9. Okay, we will get something like this. So if you see this now, first we will get this and then we will get this. Now the thing is that these animations are happening quite fast, so what we can do, we need a distance between each and every animation. So for this O, I'm not going to change anything. For this keyframes, by holding Alt I'm going to increase the duration. Similarly for this one, by holding Alt I'm going to increase the duration of this one to this. Select this, by holding Alt I'm going to increase the duration up to this. So if you see, we will get something like this. Okay, over here. Now hit U, and now we don't need any of these, so let's delete those reference keyframes. If you see this animation, first we will get this and then we will get this, and let's make this fit. Now our this logo animation is ready. Now we need to create animation which is going to be the starting point of this. So let's select all of this and press Ctrl Shift C, and we will call it as logo animation. Okay, sorry, and hit OK, and let's hide this, or before that press Ctrl Y and create one background with this purple color, and let's bring this downwards, and let's hide this logo animation. Now first thing first, we need to create our ellipse, and let's delete this fill. We don't delete the stroke, we don't need that stroke, and choose fill. And by holding shift I'm going to create one ellipse. Select this, press Ctrl Alt Home, go to the align tab, align it horizontally and then align it vertically. Then press P for position. Initially it should be downward. Create one keyframe, then go to around 1 second, and let's make this somewhere around over here like this. Then go somewhere around at this point over here. Select this, go to the align tab and choose align vertically. If you see this now, we will get something like this. Now select those keyframe and hit F9. Go to the graph editor, select this graph. By holding shift move this handle over here, select this, move this handle over here, move this handle over here, and move this handle over here. So if you see, we will get something like this. Now over here, if you see over here, we are getting some error. So let's select those keyframe, right click, go to keyframe interpolation, and instead of auto bezier, choose linear and hit OK. So now if you see, we are getting this kind of bounciness, and by holding alt, I'm going to bring this animation up to 1 second. Okay, and then at 1 second, I'm going to select this. I'll press S, create one keyframe. I'll go 10 frame forward, and I'm going to increase the size of this animation to somewhere around like this, that it should cover our entire canvas. Then select those keyframes, and we are going to hit F9, go to the graph, select this graph, shift hold, move this handle over here and move this handle over here like this. And when this is going to happen, I want my logo animation to start to appear. So bring this logo animation at the top, enable this, and with the help of open square bracket, I'll bring this over here like this. Now let's see. Yep. And when this is over here, if this portion is going to strike over here, there should be some shaky animation over here. So for that, I'm going to press P for position, create one keyframe. I'll hit page down button, and let's bring this over here a little bit. Then page down button again, zoom in. Let's bring this over here again, hit page down button, copy the first keyframe, hit Ctrl C, Ctrl V. So we will get this kind of shakiness, and enable the motion blur for this shakiness. Then go inside this, select all of them, and enable the motion blur as well. Now if you see this portion, we'll get this, and then we'll get this. Enable the motion blur over here as well. Okay, so first we will get this, and then we will get this, and press N at 5 seconds, and so we will get this animation like this, and then we'll get this animation. So yep, this is how you can create this kind of Yahoo logo reveal animation inside of After Effects.